Join us as we discuss Doom on the 5th ever episode of the Time Hop Podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Time Hop Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Lozada. I'm joined with Lindsay Schubert.
Hello.
And Tim Ronan.
Hey, everyone.
In case you don't know, the Time Hop Podcast is a podcast that plays games of the past to let you know if they're worth playing today. Today's episode is all about Doom 1993, originally released for MS-DOS. Many years ago, 25 to be exact. But first, I want to ask, how are you guys doing this week? Lindsay, how are you this week? What's going on?
I am good. I've been very tired this week. I worked 6 days straight. Today, I'm off. So I decided to stream some Tony Hawk speedruns. And then after this, I think I'm going to sleep.
It sounds like a plan. Sounds like a good plan. Tim, how about you? How was your week?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good.
Just wrote a new article to put out. Yeah, been pretty well.
Good. As for me, I've been also very busy, just trying to get some work done before the holidays come, and then everyone goes away and nobody reads anything. Nobody reads anything anyway, but right? But I mean, just trying to get some work done. I interviewed the cast of Dragon Ball Super Broly, big anime movie coming up next month, mid-January. It's going to premiere nationwide. So I got to interview the the cast there: Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Bulma, Bardock, Krillin, all those characters. Very cool stuff. You can find that on Keen Gamer. And I was also a guest on the Pixel Meditations, which is hosted by our fellow Keen Gamer journalist, Steve. You should totally check out that last episode, episode 17. It's all about video game public relations. We had a really interesting discussion there. Okay, so let's move on to the news that stuck out with us this week. Before we go back to the past, let's take a look at the present. Tim, what stuck out to you this past week?
Well, I think this has actually been going on for a little while, but just in general, recently we've been seeing different celebrities and stars from different places suing Epic Games because of their inclusion of certain dances in Fortnite, such as the Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't know. I just kind of want to ask what you guys think about it.
Yeah.
And, are they in the right? Do they have a right to their property, I guess you'd call it, as the different dances, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of question that it poses, right? In my opinion, because it's kind of like, don't these things kind of enter public domain after a while? That's kind of like what I kind of had my concept of dancing and memes and stuff like that. It's just like it's kind of like a cultural trend, It becomes kind of part of pop culture. I don't know if you have ownership over that, unless it's like a trademarked or if it's an IP, but I don't think they are. Can you even trademark a dance? I mean, I guess you can, right?
You might.
I think you might be able to. Tim might be saying the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's already long past the point where they would be able to trademark it.
Right. Right.
It's only now that they're like, nope, that's mine.
As it's making all this money, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's part of the whole game. It's part of the whole experience. So yeah, it's an interesting kind of. I don't really know what to think of it, to be honest, because on one hand it's kind of like, okay, well, I could see where they're going. They kind of curated this dance, they curated this move, like especially with Backpack Kid, right? I mean, that's what basically like the whole fame around him, right, is this dance move, from what I could tell. So I can see that, but also isn't he just like a meme? Isn't he just kind of like a joke? Like, not saying that he himself is a joke. I don't mean to demean the kid or anything, but I'm just saying, like, wasn't that isn't he like an internet celebrity? So like, I don't know. I it's
The You're talking about the backpack kid,
yeah,
you
the
said?
backpack kid, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
always consider
actually
him a back not a backpack kid. No, I always consider him like an internet celebrity. So like, I don't know. What were you saying, Tim?
I was just gonna say that before I have been kind of hearing about this, I never heard about this kid. What do you remember? What dance he
It
made
was
or whatever?
it was the floss, I think. If I could recall
Okay.
correctly. Yeah. It was just basically like a vine, I think, or something. Like he was a viner, and he got famous through this dance, and I think he was on a YouTube Rewind or two, and that was basically it. I mean, he just kind of came and went, just like every other meme.
Okay.
Yeah. Lindsay, what do you think
Yeah.
about it?
I think it's funny that that we have this going on right now. Um, it makes sense that they would try to do this, as you guys said, that they're trying to get money off of an IP that's already made millions of dollars. I think that they should lose their lawsuits. If anything, Carlton, Alfonso Ribeiro would have a much better chance than the backpack kid. So, since he was actually, that was his thing on the show, and the show was an actual uh, paid for thing by a company and all that. So,
Yeah,
I
I
mean, if
mean,
anything, to be honest, the company should probably sue them and not Alfonso Ribeiro.
yeah.
But then there was something else linked off of that, saying that uh, Alfonso had tributed that dance to Courtney Cox and I can't remember who the other person was, but like it was a mix between her dance and somebody else's dance. So I'm like, well,
Yeah, I
Right.
saw that.
I mean,
it's just an endless like
it's
an endless
when you look at
thing.
art itself. I mean, like, no art is really original, right? I think that's a saying, right? No art is
Yeah,
truly original. You get your ideas and stuff from other places. So, I mean, I totally understand. Like, okay, like you got this. In the music industry, it's understandable because it's kind of like, all of these tracks are supported by multi-million-dollar corporations and et cetera, and they're all mixed by certain people, and they're sampled by certain, uh, you could sample a Biggie album or something. A lot of hip hop does that, right? So you could pay homage to whomever of the past, but like when it comes to dance moves, I don't know if that's as cut and dry. I just don't see it. I don't know. I just don't personally. I don't see it, and I think it is just a little ridiculous, because as I think Tim and Lindsay, you put perfectly, Fortnite's getting money now, and now everybody just wants a piece of the pie. So, yeah, it's a little I don't know. I don't really know what to think of it, but I'm more leaning towards the this is a little ridiculous kind of side.
I guess it's just tricky because I consider myself a creator of sorts, so I get the perspective of people wanting to make sure that their things aren't getting taken from them or ripped off. And it's also maybe tricky because, well, I was trying to think about this because, games pay homages to stuff all the time, and make references or whatever, but I guess it's a little bit different or at least trickier here because they do monetize. Like, those are emotes that you can buy, so they monetize it. So maybe, I don't know, there's some room for there to be like, maybe this is wrong sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not all the time, depending on the dance it is, but
Right.
I don't know, maybe there's something there. But
Right.
that's all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. The monetization plays a key role here. I think you're right. But I'm really interested to see where it goes. I'm gonna follow this closely, see if Fortnite does wind up, with a lot of damages. Anyway, Lindsay, what's your news story for the week?
Okay, so I've mentioned on previous podcasts, I'm a big Nintendo and Super Mario fan. So I'm very excited to read that Charles Martinet, the voice actor of Mario, just achieved a new world record in the Guinness Book of World Records. So recently for Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, of course, he again voiced Mario in his usual fashion, and that was actually his 100th time doing so. Well, we could say his 100th video game voicing Mario. So he got the record for voicing a character in any IP, I guess, 100 times. So that is pretty exciting.
That is pretty exciting, and I really wish the best for that guy and I'm really happy for that guy because he's a great guy. Every time I see interviews of him online on YouTube or hear anything of him, he's always very inviting, always very, cheerful. He's just an overall great guy. I think I met him once actually in Nintendo World here in New York City. I didn't, not for a formal interview, just oh hey, you're the voice of Mario, very nice to meet you, type of thing, and you know, and it
Can
kind
you
of
say Wahoo for me, Mr. Martinet?
please, Mr. Martinet, I'm just a poor boy who lives in Brooklyn.
I actually also met him. I met MegaCon here in Orlando. It was last year, 2017. I saw that he was going, and I just died.
No, he's just a awesome guy, and I hope he voices this character until Xfinity. Okay, so moving on to my news story. This one's actually relatively new. I think it came out yesterday. Basically, the weekly Famitsu that comes out every, I think, Thursday. It revealed some comments from Tetsuya Nomura and producer Yoshinori Kitase, and I hope I'm saying those right. And it's regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake. Remember that? Do you guys remember Final Fantasy VII Remake? It was announced a million years ago, back in E3 2015.
I think about it every E3.
Oh, okay. All right. So someone remembers it aside from me, and basically he said that we can expect to hear more news about the game uh, next year, various plans will be announced. This is what he's implying. He didn't explicitly say, Final Fantasy VII news is coming in 2019, but he kind of like implied it. He was like, his keyword, they had like a kind of like an article of sorts, and they had to choose keywords, and Nomura chose the keyword 7, and then alongside it, his message was, various plans will be announced. And Kitase, similarly, he said he used a keyword called long wait, and then I'll like to try my best to respond to the expectations of the fans. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but then he also followed that up and said, of course, development of Final Fantasy VII Remake is going smoothly, which is good news because last time we heard about that game, it was actually it sounded like it was in development hell. It kind of jumped from CyberConnect 2 to in-house Square Enix, and now we're just kind of waiting to hear more news of it whenever Square Enix is ready. Are you guys still excited for that game? Is it kind of off your radar now? What do you think?
I mean, personally, I've been excited for the whole ever since it was announced. I constantly. Well, that's weird to say, but I think about it a lot.
You think about it every day when you wake up in the morning. You go,
yes.
Oh boy, do I wish there was Final Fantasy VII remake news today. That's me too.
Yes, I wake up every morning, sit up in my bed, and then I scream that, and then
you check the computer and you're disappointed.
Yes.
You've been doing it for like 4 years now.
And then I go back to bed, and then I scream about how unhappy I am about Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then I start over.
Well, me too. I'm right there with you, girl. Tim, are you excited at all for Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I have never played a Final Fantasy game, so
it's gonna be a no from you.
What's that?
It's gonna be a no from you.
Well, I mean, I definitely want to play one at some point, but at least in terms of for this game, it's not really on my radar.
Okay,
but
that's fair. Well, as for me, I'm right there with Lindsay. I'm kind of like part of me is it's like with the whole Fortnite dancing thing. Like part of me is like, oh yeah, like I'm looking forward to it, but also there are a lot of bad things surrounding it. That have been coming out these past coming years, like the episodic nature of the game, and how it just development kind of shifted, and how they changed the character designs and stuff like that. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm excited for this anymore, but I want to see what direction Square is going to take this, and if things are going to come out, if it's going to meet the demand that has been building since Final Fantasy VII released in the PlayStation 1. We'll see. I'm kind of, optimistic, but also my expectations are very measured. I suppose that's the best way of putting it. Moving on to the topic of the show. This week, we're going to talk about Doom, the original one, the one that came out on December 10th, 1993. It was originally released on the MS-DOS family line of computers. It was developed by id Software, which still exists today. It's owned by Bethesda. It pioneered kind of the FPS genre that we know today, but a lot of people don't know this. It also kind of helped popularize online distribution models, because when it was originally released, it was distributed via shareware and mail order, which is pretty interesting. It was kind of delivered in installments online, and it kind of stemming from what it's been pioneering. It pioneered 3D graphics. It also helped pioneer network multiplayer, which a lot of people also don't realize, which is super cool. The Call of Duties and the Battlefields that we in the Battlefront 2s that we all enjoy today. Maybe not Battlefront 2. They're all kind of owe it to the original Doom for helping establish that. And it also did help pioneer mods, believe it or not. It allowed people to kind of develop their own customized modifications for the game. Actually, when it came out, fun little tidbit, universities started banning it from playing it because it was destroying their networks. So many people were playing it at universities, and even Intel. Everybody knows what Intel is, right? They started banning their employees from playing it at work because it was crashing all of their servers because so many people were playing it at once. So, yeah, it's really cool, right? This game pioneered so much, helped establish so much in the gaming industry, and personally, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Lindsay, Tim, what do you guys think of the game now that you've played it in 2018? Lindsay, I guess we'll start with you. What are your general thoughts of it?
I mean, for me, I personally didn't play the game. Way too much about way too much of a backlog. So I decided to watch more speedruns of the game. So in the past, I had already done so, but I figured I would watch different kind of speedruns. So I watched the task one, and I think the other one was hard mode, or it might, truth be told, it might have just been a regular speedrun of the game. But I mean, I always enjoy Doom or anything like Doom, like Wolfenstein or Quake. I enjoy those games.
Mm. So
Well, at least from
FPS
my
games.
watching of it.
Right. Tim, what are your overall thoughts of Doom?
So I had never played it before. I mean, I'd seen it, heard of it. So I did. So for me, I did pick up a copy, which is I think because it's a winter sale, it's like super super cheap right now. It's like $1.50.
Very good to know.
What's that?
That's very good to know for listeners. Yeah. If you can go pick this up right now, $1.50, certainly worth it in my opinion. Sorry, yeah. Tim, go ahead.
No, that's fine. So yeah, I picked it up. I've been playing it for I played like the first 2 or 3 levels, and it's pretty great. I can see why people got into it. It's just pretty fast paced. It's straightforward, and I decided to do the second hardest difficulty, which is, it's definitely proved to be a little hard sometimes, and I've definitely died. And there's also apparently secrets you can find, and they kind of show you percentages of how much stuff you've done on the level at the very end. That's kind of cool because it makes me want to go back and do that stuff. The shotgun is awesome. It destroys everything, so that's basically all I've been using.
Yeah, it is pretty great.
That's just overall pretty. I'm glad to finally play it because it's one of those classics.
Yeah, it is a classic. That's a very good term to use. So moving on to the presentation of the game, what do you guys think of the art style, the graphics, etc.? Lindsay, what do you think of it?
So I think it's definitely good for its time. 93, right?
Yeah, 93.
And it's in 3D, as we see. Yeah, it's really good. And the monsters you see, I don't know how else to call them, enemies. They're pretty intricate, pretty well detailed. Not remembering too much about the environment specifically, but yeah, definitely lives up to being a noteworthy game in 2018 for me.
Mm. Tim, do you share her sentiments?
Yeah, I'd say more or less. Um, yeah, everything seems to hold up, and I mean, obviously, a lot of different developers took inspiration to make similar kind of games.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you said that your last comment, a lot of developers took inspiration from it because right after Doom released, actually all these Doom clones, as they were called, came out. Kind of like how now we have all these battle royale type of games, right? Um, Back then it was all these Doom clones because not a lot of games, including Duke Nukem 3D, which is also in its own right very impressive game, right? But it helped kind of it was so the FPS genre existed thanks to Wolfenstein 3D before it, but it it wasn't very popular. Like Wolfenstein 3D had its audience, but it wasn't on the level of Doom, and I think the key thing about Doom that attracted so many people was its art style, was its kind of really visceral, like blood and gore, like this whole kind of impression of being this badass, right? Like this marine who's sunken into the depths of hell, and now he has to fight off all these demons. It's just so cool. Uh, a lot of what the game is kind of just as you pointed out, Tim, is just like finding guns and you know shooting enemies full of lead and moving on, right? It's a really simple mechanic, and I'll touch more on that in the gameplay, but it's really satisfying to see like the enemies just fall down like in blood and tatters, and then what's really cool is that they just stay there, like a lot of times they don't disappear. So like, like there are just bodies like strewn across the level, and it's just like, man, like I am a freaking badass, like I've just killed all these people, and it's just like I don't know, it makes you feel really cool. The levels themselves are kind of empty a little bit. There are some good textures here and there, but I feel like even for 1993, I guess it was acceptable. But I guess today, looking back at it today, the textures are a little kind of something to be desired. But yeah, it is still impressive, especially when you're going through walls and stuff like that, like the elevators and going through walls and the more intricacies. I don't know. I can't say that word. Of the level, are really cool, especially the hidden places and stuff like that, the little nooks and crannies. Very cool stuff. Presentation wise, I can see why it was kind of banned all over the world. I think I researched this game a lot. In Germany, it was banned only until recently. That's how long it was banned for, just because of its like satanic imagery, because it's hell. So really cool stuff. Moving on to gameplay. I know, Tim, you had something to say about that. What do you think of the gameplay?
Yeah, I mean, I touched on it a little bit, but it's pretty straightforward. You're a dude with a gun. There's demons everywhere, and good idea to probably kill them. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Just go around the levels, and I mean, really, you can just blitz through the levels if you want to do a speedrun thing, but you can also try and find those secrets, or I think the secrets are in the form of like buttons that you have to find and press, and then you like find hidden walls and stuff.
Right,
But
right.
that's pretty cool. I actually just got the like chain minigun or machine gun or whatever, so it's cool that there's like different little bit of variety of the things you can get. Um,
You mean the
yeah, I
rapid
mean,
fire one? The rapid fire like Gatling gun type of thing?
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that one's really
yeah, I
good.
think that's it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I've only played it for like 2 hours, or maybe not even, but I think I'm definitely into it. So
Mm.
it's a win for me.
Lindsay, what about you? Is it a win for you?
Definitely a win for me. I mean, I can't speak as to the gameplay. The gameplay looks great, and I could only guess that I would love to play it. But yeah, overall, I'd say it is great today. And I could tell why it was great back in '93.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's actually fun to watch too. I mean, I can't speak for you, to if you had fun watching it, but when I watch gameplay clips of it, I'm actually having fun too. I don't know. Do you have fun watching it?
Yeah, I enjoyed watching the speed runs of it. It's insane because they turn very quickly. Whoever is playing it, because shoot enemy, shoot enemy, and then turn, go to next room, shoot enemy, turn, go to next room. Like it's very fast paced, and yeah, it makes the speed run more fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
It looks fun.
exactly. That's the whole style of Doom. I mean, it's just a signature at this point. It's just, you know, I think I mentioned it before. Like you pick up guns and then you just shoot things and then you move on and that's it.
Yeah,
And it sounds like it's boring. It sounds like it's so simple and dumbed down, but it's not. It's just so addictive and fun. I don't know if you got a chance to use this weapon, Tim, but one of my favorites is the plasma rifle, just because of like the sounds it makes. And then we're gonna get onto sound next. But like the little like sizzle it does, and then like the monsters are just like they're crying and they're like dissolving. It's just so cool, And it's these like they look like blobs, They're not really very sophisticated. I mean, they are for the time presentation wise. I'm not gonna go back on my word that I said earlier, but it's just really satisfying to see these things die, especially since like they come at you pretty fast. I mean, I know you're watching a speed run, Lindsay, but like these things are like rushing at you. Especially
yeah.
the thing that's really kind of jarring is like the and I don't know the names of all the demons. I'm sorry, but like there's this red ball demon, right? Tim, did you encounter this demon, the red one?
I
There's
mean, I haven't. But
Oh, you haven't. Okay. Um, there's this like red ball demon, right? And he shoots these I don't know, like lasers at you, and if you get hit by one, it takes out like such a huge chunk out of your life. It's ridiculous. It's super ridiculous. Like even if you have max health, you're gonna be crippled by even just one hit. And like it shoots it like rapid fire, especially like on higher difficulties. So you have to constantly dodge, like getting your shots, and then and it's moving towards you too. By the way, so it's like almost like a bullet hell type of thing, and you're just shooting at it, and then it finally like just crumbles, and it's just so satisfying, And you move on, and you find another one. You rinse and repeat, but somehow this formula, even though it's
Mhm.
like the same enemies, right? It's the same like things that you're killing and the same demons and whatever. It doesn't get old for me. It just somehow continues to be fun. I don't know why that is, but like they managed to make it. I think it has to do with the level design itself. Like it's varied. Like you're climbing up levels, you're going down levels, like you're going on elevators, you're like somehow you reach a dead end and you feel like you're screwed because all these enemies are coming at you, and you're trapped. It does little things like that makes you really kind of hooked, even if the enemies themselves, they lack a little variety. It's just it sinks its teeth in you really well from a gameplay
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah. So sound design, and I know Lindsay, uh, you're a fan of metal, right? I know you listen to Breaking Benjamin and stuff, right?
Yeah, a bit of metal, not too much screaming or anything, but
Right. And Doom, one of the reasons why it's like one of my favorite games is because it's such an inspired like metal soundtrack. It takes a little bit of its inspiration and notes from Metallica in like Pantera and like trash metal bands of the era, and it sounds like it's so like it's speedy and it's really like I don't know how to explain it. I'm not a music critic, so forgive me, but it's so appropriate for the genre for that game, and it makes you feel like you're in hell. It's so good. Did you get a chance to listen to any of it, Lindsay, during the speed
Uh,
runs?
I mean, I know in the past I have outside of the speed run. Um, and I do enjoy the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I just remember it being like uh just I kind of remember it just being like generic metal, but yeah, it's still cool. It's better than many other soundtracks I've heard for video games. So,
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I think some of the levels themselves are a little kind of like you're so you're so busy like the gameplay wise is like so like you're so invested in that you kind of like
mhm.
lose sight of the sound. I mean, I know when I'm playing games that happens to me very often that I don't really pay attention to the music at all because I'm so invested in the game itself, right? Um, but I think this particular game, some of the like the intros and outros are really worthwhile. Tim, did you get any of that while you were playing the game?
Yeah, I listened to a bit of it. I haven't heard all of it just yet, but um, I mean, to the point that I hadn't played this game before, but I've obviously been exposed to it. I when I started at the first level, I was like, "Oh, I know that song, I know that tune. I've heard it from somewhere." Um, and there is also a little bit of variation in what we get as well, because the first one's like it has like more energy, and it's a little more amped up, but I think it's like the second or third level that's like it's kind of a bit like quieter, but then there's
Mm-hmm.
also still like a sense of urgency to it, which is cool.
Right. I don't know the names of all of the songs themselves. I know the first one is E1M1, and they're all like kind of named this way, right? It's like a letter, a number, a letter, a number. It's a little odd, um, but yeah, there is some variation there. Um, I think you're right. I think it is the second or third one where it's kind of more subdued. It's less like speedy and making you want to kill stuff, and it's more kind of like solemn, like this is hell, you're fucked, kind of thing, you know. Um, yeah, it makes it makes a good impression on you, kind of like that you're in a bad place and you have to kill all these demons and etc. etc. A haunting melody, so to speak, right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are your overall thoughts of the game, guys? Do you think it's worth playing in 2018?
A plus with demon again.
Yep. I would agree. I would
You probably
love to
shouldn't
play it
put
when
it
I
on
get a chance.
YouTube, otherwise you'll get demonetized.
Yeah.
Ah,
Oh boy,
get
Tim
it?
is back again, ladies and gentlemen. Him and his puns. Yeah,
Oh, I never left.
he never left. He
So
never left, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I agree with these guys. It's definitely something that if you haven't played it before, man, oh man, do you owe it to yourself to play this game? It's so. I don't know how to describe it, man. It sinks its teeth into you so well. I'm gonna keep using that analogy because it's so appropriate for Doom, because it's all the demons and stuff, right? It's just so addictive, so fun, so you're moving through levels like lightning speed, and you feel like a badass, like you feel like you're like so powerful. You have all these guns in your possession, and then you get the BFG, and you're like, fuck yeah, like you're just like killing everything around you. It's just it especially like I shouldn't be recommending this to a younger crowd, but like I am kind of, just because like you guys are very used to playing games like Fortnite and stuff like that, and you know like like uh, you know getting turned up the leaderboards and whatever. That's kind of like what gaming is nowadays, right? The KD, right? It's all about the KD, guys. All about the KD. But this game is much more about, you know, just going in, shooting shit, and having fun. It's a very masculine game in that sense, but it's also a very fun game in that sense. It's just, you go in and you have fun. I mean, I hate to repeat myself, but it is. It's simple and easy to pick up and play, and I couldn't recommend it more to anyone really, except unless you're like like 5 years old, then no, you probably shouldn't play this. But 8 and above or something, 10 and above, it's fine. I think. All right, so that about wraps it up for our impressions of Doom. Join us next week as we discuss Mega Man X. That's going to be really interesting. Have you guys played Mega Man X ever before?
I have not.
I don't think so, no.
Me neither. I've only played the original Mega Man games, so this is going to be quite the interesting experience. I hear it's more fast paced than the original Mega Man, so yeah, looking forward to it. Okay, so moving on to what we're playing next week, aside from Doom, of course. Lindsay, what are you playing next week?
Let's see. So I just received, I think it's Nicktoons Racing in the mail from GameFly. It's on the Switch, so I'm gonna play it, review it for one of the websites I write for, Bento Byte. Let's see. Gonna play more Tony Hawk's Underground 2. So there's gonna be more speedruns of that on my stream, my Twitch stream. I think that I'm going to an arcade that I just went to last week. I think I'm going there again on Saturday for a holiday party. So I'm gonna play some arcade games. I'm thinking of streaming that, like streaming that mobile. Let's see. I'm always playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp on my phone. More Graveyard Keeper. I'm gonna try to fit in Thief Simulator because I still gotta review both games for Keen Gamer. Get DLC and Graveyard Keeper takes forever. So, and I only have time to play the game like once a week. So.
Yeah, it's tough. Try to sneak everything in, right?
Yeah.
But you gotta do what you gotta do. Tim, what are you playing next week?
Probably just the same as always. Just
Sonic
that
06?
old thing.
Sonic 06? Is that what it is?
Yeah, my favorite game of all time. Yeah, no, not so much. But Minecraft probably.
Okay.
I do play other things, but
Minecraft is your mainstay. That's your
for now at least, yeah.
Yeah.
I get on like stints. I'm just like,
when he's done with Minecraft, he's gonna go to Sonic 06 again.
Obviously. I mean, what else would he play? Duh. As for me, what I'm going to be playing this week, I'm going to be playing. My friends are going to come over for Christmas actually, and so we're going to be playing some Smash Brothers Ultimate. That's going to be fun. I don't know.
Do you actually want to actually play that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna play that too.
It is very fun.
On Christmas, I'm gonna play that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a Switch yet, so I'm kind of like, right now I'm kind of stranded in a little aisle without any Smash Bros. But he's gonna bring over his Switch. We're gonna hook it up to my TV, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. I think he has all the characters unlocked, which is very exciting. Yeah. So that's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I have to wait till Christmas because I specifically asked for it as my Christmas gift. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait.
Right. But you'll live with Graveyard Keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, because Graveyard Keeper, you're tending to the dead. So, and my character
Ha ha
died
ha
like
ha
3 times already.
Oh, really?
Like that's in the story. He's supposed to die.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He was struck by lightning, and then he was lit on fire.
Oh my god. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
All right, though, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Time Hop Podcast. I'm your host again, Dave Lozada. I'm joined with Lindsay Schubert and Tim Ronan. You can find us on Twitter at XenoCreator125 and Lindsay at Infam Red Yoshi, right? Got it. Nailed it. Boom. You can find the Time Hop Podcast on Spotify. I was going to say Instagram. I don't even know why. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Join us next week for Mega Man X 25th anniversary. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. And Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Merry Holidays. Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Bye.
Bye.